Hi, welcome back to the Price Action Corner with me, Gigi, of theboringtrader.com. This is where we talk about price action and we use some real-life examples. This is the second video. As you may remember, we're looking at the 5-minute DAX, German index market. This is 24th of February, and I'm looking at the DAX as the DAX is one of the markets I'm using. This is a situation before 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock is when everything starts. It's the cash market open. And if you remember from my previous video, we can see that the market is hanging around this pivot point, and there are two important psychological levels. On the support we have the 13,800, and on the resistance we have the 13,900. I don't like to use indicators or other things, so what else can we see from the levels of the markets here? One thing we could see is there is an area here, roughly here, where we used to have a support, and this support also created a breakout point for this big drop here. So this may be an area where there are some reference points for both bulls and bears. Another area, a little bit more recent, may be this one. This is the previous high. During the night, the bulls have tried to push up, but they never managed to pass this level here, which is also quite close to this. What does this tell me? It tells me that if the bulls are in charge, they are going to try to test this level here, this level here, this level here. If the bears are in charge, they're going to test this one to start with, and then we'll see where we go. Notice that I have no idea what's going to happen, of course. Price action is going to indicate to me what is the strongest hand, hopefully, and try to back it. There's also an important observation to make, and this is depends very much on what kind of trader you are. If you're a very aggressive trader, you may see that here you have a range. This is not too unusual. Before London Open, you will see with the volume actually what happens in London Open. Not much happens. Usually when many people see this kind of range, they expect a breakout of this range, and some people may put a stop entry here and a stop entry here for a long, and hope for the best. I don't like to be that. I like to see what the market is telling me and then take action accordingly. So let's see what happens here. The first 5 minutes bar shows us that the bulls are definitely in control, and they are trying to retest this level and probably go further than this level with these two other levels to test. And as you can see, in 10 minutes, they manage already to hit this point. If you entered very, very early, you'd have been right, but it was a very, very risky thing to do. Now I know that the bulls are in control, and it's up to the bear to show their hands. Are they going to push the market down? How much are they going to push the market down? How much are the bears, the bulls, reacting to that? The next bar will probably tell us something. Sorry, my mistake. And it tells us two things. The first one is that the bulls, sorry again, the bulls are quite tired and they take a pause. The bears exploit the situation by trying to push the market down. However, if they're really in control, I would have expected a much stronger reaction. You see this big wick here? This big wick tells me that the bears are not particularly forceful and they are probably going to struggle pushing the market down. If they do, the bulls are going to have more momentum to go up. And that's exactly what happens. And now the bulls are not only winning this trench line here, they also won this trench line here, and they're going to try this one. As you can see, the bulls are still quite strong. This levels here, this wicks here, however, are telling me that there is some life on the bears, although not a lot. Better. And now the bears are reacting a little bit longer. One thing to notice is that after this bar here, it could have been possible to notice that the bears were not very strong, and so we could have entered this level here long in order to exploit this momentum of the bulls. The problem with that is that you're entering on what used to be support and resistance area, especially a resistance area. So that would have been a little bit more risky. However, it's also true that if you look at the volume, the bulls encountered when they found some resistance here, it's nothing compared to the volume they have there. So the momentum is with them. However, now the bears are counteracting. Will they manage to go back to at least this trench line here and try to regain it? It looks as if they are trying, but I suspect that the bulls are going to sell quite dearly this gains that they reached. So I suspect that there's going to be quite a lot of battle here. Now you start seeing a less assertive bear, and the bulls take the opportunity to push the market up. Again, this is quite interesting because the bulls have the opportunity now to show that they can pass this high here and break it again. This would be another long entry opportunity, for instance. The more aggressive traders will have taken this, the high of this bar, as a more aggressive opportunity. Now we have a double top. This is quite important, and we will really need to see what the bears are doing now. The bears are reacting, not very strongly, but they are reacting. If you put a stop to enter here, you would be a little bit worried about it now, because you basically entered at a double top, and now you'll be in a very difficult situation. A completely different trade would have been the more aggressive one, entering just above this high here and trying to scalp something to this double top here. However, it is quite important now to see what the bears will be doing. even if you entered here, your stop should really be below this line here, because this is where the support is now, and we have seen that it worked in the past. And as you can see, the bulls are still acting quite strongly. Now, they could form a triple top, and remember, each subsequent top that is not completely broken makes the possible long less and less probable. There's something building there, and it's obvious that there is some form of resistance there from the bear. It's also obvious that there is support here from the bull. So this range here is where they're playing, but they're not going to stay here for a long time, I guess. Notice another thing here. This is now 9 o'clock, 9:20, and the volume is going down, and it will go down during the day, actually. So there will be more opportunities for anybody who wants to move the market one way or the other to move it without using so many lots. So this is where there could be some further breakout. At the moment, this is really, you see, these are dojis. Not a lot happens, and the volume is really dropping here. Another doji with a drop in volume. This is interesting because the volume is still dropping, but the bulls are forming a triple top. Now, I would really like to go along at this particular point here. If they break this one with the lower volume and not a lot of resistance encountered from the bears, sorry, there could be a good chance that it is a good breakout. They're still there, nothing happens. Nothing happens. There's another nudge. You see that the volume is slightly higher, and now here they break, but it's not a good break. This is a better break. So, as I told you, this is just, they're sniffing at each other, they're looking at each other and try to see if there is any chance of finding weaknesses, and the bulls have found some weaknesses in the bear's resistance, and they're going up. One thing that I don't particularly like about this, although I'm happy of the long, is that there are quite a lot of wicks on the upside. That means that the bull movement is not too strong at the moment, but it's still going. But you see the bars are shorter and shorter until there is a kind of capitulation of the bears. This is really what I was expecting for this, from this breakout of this level here. Let's see what they're doing here. Now you have another even more important psychological level, which is the 14,000. And so you can see now that the bulls have retraced the whole movements of yesterday. And as this is a pretty important point, I'm expecting that they're going to test it again. There is little point for the bears to put up a lot of resistance here. I suspect that the trench of the bears are here, where they have been before, and where it's more natural to find, at a psychological level, to find some ammunition. Let's see what happens. They are reacting here, the bulls are reacting, and sure enough, they're testing the 14,000. So this would have been my first target, and possibly my overall target in a way. There is still momentum. They might go up a little bit, but this is the price they were playing for, at least initially. It's also past 10 o'clock when the market tends to go a little bit quieter. And in fact, you see that they just want to rest. Now, I've already spoken for 15 minutes. I think it's probably better if I stop here, and I will show what happens in the next in the afternoon, or the next part of the morning in the next video. See ya.